Hello everybody, my name's Kunai Manika, and welcome back to the unboxing, where today we're doing one of those more anticipated figures of the year, and it's very heavy in my hand as I try to hide it away from the camera. So if you remember last year, around July-ish, we unboxed a couple of figures from Figma, specifically from Nintendo and Figma. The Metroid Dread line, and those figures were absolutely fantastic. Some of the best figures I've handled, like, ever. Um, you can check both 2023 and 2024's top 15 videos to figure out how good those are, but, yeah, it appears Nintendo and Figma are continuing their more modern collaborations. They've done collaborations for a long time, but certain series just kind of got the short end of the stick until, again, recently. So today we are looking at another one of those franchises that is finally getting a little bit more love again, by taking a look at the Figma DX Tears of the Kingdom Link. And is this nice to have. First off, it comes in this kind of white paper packaging that covers it, I guess, to protect the sheen on the package, but removing that. Yeah, that is nice. It is very similarly packaged to the Samus Aran we looked at before. It has this kind of black sleeve over it, with a promotional image of the figure, and oh man, I am so excited. Again, the Samus is really, really, really good, and it looks like a very similar team of designers is now working on these Zelda figures. But yeah, this just looks so pretty. Yeah. So first off, this kind of some specific black packaging honestly fits the Tears of the Kingdom vibe quite well. In part, yes. This is the Tears of the Kingdom link specifically. You can tell with the arm and with the logo right here. Yeah, so there's this outer layer of packaging. We'll get to the inner layer. But first, for the outer layer, it's all in black, but it's got these nice kind of like zonai texturing all over it, which looks very, very nice and fits in with the theme that this figure is going for very, very well. You can see the three big things this is from: Good Smell Company, Figma, and Tears of the Kingdom, a Nintendo seal quality. This red thing, which I don't know what that means. It might be saying, oh yeah, this is the deluxe edition, or like go to the website or something. And then we have the name of the figure in this nice gold bar with more of that zonai texturing. Link, the Tears of the Kingdom version, the deluxe edition. So on the top, we get more of that wonderful patterning, both in this kind of spirals, as well as the gold foil corners, which looks so pretty. And then Figma Max Factory Cross Masaki Apsi, which I imagine is the designer of this figure. On this side, we've got Figma, Tears of the Kingdom, Link, Good Smile Company, the gold foil. On the bottom, you just have the circles and a barcode. On this side, we see a bit of the inner package, which we will get to in a moment. But first, looking at the back, we get a ton of nice promotional shots. We have these two, which show this one, which is kind of a basic one. This one, which shows him coming out of the ground because of one of his hand abilities. I forget which one specifically. Then we have him using a bunch of his different accessories that come specifically with the DX set, his different faces, as well as all of this. Again, as mentioned, this is the DX set. I should bring this up. Probably now. We'll get into it more when we get to the actual accessories, but this is about, I want to say, $30 to $50 more expensive than the base set, which gets you essentially just the figure and like the Master Sword and the shield, I think, as well as a couple of as well as the hands and the faces. The deluxe set is what gives you the extra shield. I think the cape might also be a base set accessory. Don't 100% check me on that, but definitely the shield, the rock on stick, the rocket, the arrow, this little like coming out of the ground accessory, as well as the glider. Those are all exclusive to this deluxe set. Here's the legalese. This is a video for adults, or at least people over 13. But yeah. Let's get them out of the package now. Why don't we? So, first off, let's get the package out of the package. We slide it out. And that gives us our window package, which people love. So, yeah, here is where you get to see a window package. Now his background is this really nice dark green, which feels fitting both for Link as well as for Tears of the Kingdom in general, though with that still spirally effect. We have this red thing again here in the corner, and now, alongside this promotional image of Link where it's a lot more standard rather than that kind of like box art style pose where he's like his back to the camera or whatever, we just have him standing there with his hand grabbing the Master Sword. Figma Tears of the Kingdom 626DX, Link Tears of the Kingdom version Deluxe Edition, official Nintendo licensed product. And as you can see, there's a window into the package. It's not the prettiest because he's covered in like protective plastic, but you can see him and all of the stuff he comes with. He has his cape, his Hylian shield, he has his 2 extra faces, he has the figure himself, obviously, the separate extra arm, because you can swap out different arms depending on what look you're going for, and the Master Sword. And there are more accessories in there, which you can kind of see behind him, but not super well. Anyways, on the top, you get another promotional image of Link using his special hand that he gets in the game. Figma 626DX, Link, Tears of the Kingdom version. On this side, we get him doing some archery, which is very true to Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom Link. This is the DX version. Here we have a back shot, which is nice. Very similar to the front shot here. But here, looking at his back to show you how he stores his weapons and whatnot. Here's the Kingdom Deluxe Edition. I imagine the bottom isn't going to be anything too crazy. It's just the image from the top. But now there's a barcode. And looking at to the back, we get more promotional images now rather than being the kind of nicer images. They're a lot more stock standard Figma on this generic Figma background. Using the hand, coming out the ground, gliding, stuff like that. You can see it. Ages 15 and up, this is the English release. That's why I'm looking at it a little bit later. Legalese, info, all that good stuff. Let's get them out of the packaging now. This packaging segment has been 7 minutes long. Whew. Okay, there we go. Seal has been cracked. Oh no, my inbox collectors. Whatever am I going to do? Okay. So, on the flap we get Figma. Just written right there. This little backing piece is an insert, though it seems fairly floppy. Now let's just pull him out. It's a fairly tight fit. Down there at the bottom it says The Legend of Zelda, which is quite... and there's the Hylian logo, and it says The Legend of Zelda right there. That's actually quite nice. Anywho. That's a scent. It does have a scent. I can't quite explain it, because I'm bad at that, but as you can see, since this is the deluxe set, there is quite a lot to be had here. So, without further ado, let's begin with this tray of just accessories. So, first off, let's get to the back. Detape all of this. Okay. There we go. Here we have a baggie of stuff. Okay. Let's get this undone. Is this where the scent's coming from? It kind of feels like this is where the scent's... It has like a weird fruity scent to it. I don't know why it has a scent to it, but it certainly does. Let me tear this tape off camera because it's being stubborn. Okay. Now we can move it back on. Camera. There we go. So first off, inside here we get the most important accessory, the Figma baggie. I mean, with the sheer number of accessories, this probably should have been bigger. Because, yeah, the glider ain't fitting in that. But yeah, it comes with a Figma baggie. I might need to get a separate bag as well. But Figma baggies are always nice, even if they can't quite fit everything. Here we have this, like, Figma pamphlet, which shows you a bunch of the releases that are coming up. If you want them, hey, look, it's Gridman. Oh, Gridman. Hey, look, it's Uni from Xenoblade. I should probably pick that up. Anywho, you also get a nice, thick instruction manual, which shows you how to swap hands, the accessories that it comes with, how to use the stand, as well as how to use specific accessories. Yeah, which is always very appreciated. Anywho, now moving on to the actual accessories baggie here. Very covered in tape, unfortunately, which is a bit annoying. Let's wiggle the tape to be a little bit nicer for us. What the fuck? Anyways, yeah, sorry, things are getting caught. So here we have the bits of the stand. This is a larger hexagonal stand, similar to the one that came with the Samus Aran. Link has that. Give me a sec. Let's get that out of there first and foremost, because it is the largest bit. It is basically the same stand that came with the Samus Aran that we covered last year. It's nice. It's nice and big, and will probably help hold up the weight a little bit better. He also comes with spare hand pegs. He comes with 2. I think usually they only come with like 1, but since he has 2 different colored wrists due to circumstance, he comes with 2 differently colored wrist pegs. Let me get those out. Come on. Yeah. So it comes with 2 differently colored wrist pegs. This one's for his gloved hand. It is brown. It is nice. This one is for his Zonai hand. It is this kind of dark green color. It's a very nice plastic. But yeah, they're wrist pegs. And also, alongside the wrist pegs, you get this bit for the stand that allows you to plug it in far nicer and easier into Link's back. Speaking of stand, we've got the stand arm, which is, again, meant to go with the stand. It's standard Figma fare. A nice clear stand arm, and I do appreciate that Figma's come with stands. There we go. Same standard arm. This side goes into the bottom, so we will place it like that. This side goes in the top. We place it tightly, like so. There we go. We have our stand arm. And yeah, fairly standard Figma stand. Now next up, we have our figure's hands, which comes on this standard lavender Figma hand rack. This is going to be a long video, oh geez. I'm just realizing with how much stuff is already in here and how much time we have already wasted, this is going to take a second, so let's plunk that over there. Here we have his hands. He doesn't have too many. He has this kind of pointer finger. He has 2 different styles of hands. He has normal hands and Zonai hands because of the way his hands work in this game. So for the normal hands, they are all done very nicely. They have some nice sculpting. The painting makes it feel tad soft, but they all look nice in general either way. So he has this gripping hand, I imagine, for the sword. He has this generic open hand, which I wish was paralleled on this side as well. And he has this pointer finger, which is more so for like knocking arrows and stuff. And with the Zonai hand, which feels a lot more intricate, I kind of wish that was a bit more sinewy in sculpt, but it's fine. The brown and the green, though, does go very nicely. He has what looks also to be a gripping hand, as well as a kind of fist. Could be for archery. I think it's for archery, because you can see the 2 fingers here are split up, and there's like a little hole there. So this is for like arrows and stuff. But yeah, he comes with these 5 hands, as well as the 2 that are on the figure already when he comes out of the package, which we will get to. And he also technically comes with another set of hands, which we'll get to as we get further into the accessories. So here's the first accessories tray. We are going to be here quite a while. So that's easy enough to remove. Thankfully, no tape there. So first off, we'll look at this. This is the Zonai rocket. This is one of many Zonai contraptions that you can attach to things. And it feels so nice. It's very nicely sculpted, very intricately sculpted. It looks just like its model in the game, and also the paint does really add to that. It also has a very nice, clean paint job. Nothing looks like it's like splitting or like anything. The decals here, especially at the front and the back, are very clean. They look just like they do in the game. But as you can see, there's a porthole at the bottom as well as this porthole on the back. This is meant to be plunked onto a shield, which we will get to. However, for the bottom, so that you can do flying poses, it comes with this really nice blast effect. I don't think it's Transformers blast effect compatible. I don't Yeah, no, because Transformers blast effects work completely differently, and this won't work in like the 5mm pegs. But it is a nice blast effect nonetheless. It is very nicely sculpted. It's fairly simple, but that green is a very nice like green, and the way it transitions to more of a clear color looks very nice. And you can just plug it in right there. Now it looks like it's rocketing away, and that rocket is primarily made for the secondary shield. So this accessory set mainly exists because there are so many different things you can get in Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild as well. Because of the way the games are designed, they are open world games where you scavenge for stuff. So this gives you an alternate shield that Link may have scavenged along the way. I kind of wish he came with a more generic broadsword as well. He does come with another weapon, but we'll get to it. It makes sense why that weapon also exists given the gimmicks of the game, but yeah, we have this kind of Zonai shield looking thing. It's got some nice weathering, like, patterning. It's not, like, super painted that way, but there's Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom have a simpler cartoony aesthetic, so I get it. So yeah, that's nice. And on the back, you can see there's equal detailing, and it works very similarly to the other shields. There's a wrist strap that you slide on, and then you remove this for him to grip onto. However, this shield also has a nice little funny function where, if it doesn't chip the there's a peg here, as you can see. I think you're meant to kind of more push it out. You push that out. I can't fit that in. You just get like a small peg, push that out. Yeah, it might be the same size as this. So if I It is. So you can use fun fact, use the stand peg to push out this. Then you've lost the middle part, but you can replace it with the rocket to use the kind of Zonai gluing ability and have the shield have a rocket on it so he can fly away, which is nice and fun, and that's just a fun gimmick as an option part. Let's put that back on the shield, though, so we don't lose track of it. Anywho, onward, more accessories. Next up, we have another weapon, the sword to go with that shield. Is a rock on a stick. This is very fun. I was kind of hoping that you could remove the rock from the stick, so you could just have the stick and the rock, and then stick the stick into the rock, but this is fine. The rock is sculpted very nicely. It has some decent weathering texture. There is this unfortunate seam line here, if it'll focus. There's this unfortunate seam line, but it has some nice, like, painted texturing, which isn't coming up super clearly on camera, but it's there. There's nice painted and sculpted texturing. And then we have the stick, which looks just like the stick models in the game, so it looks very nice. And there's this white paint here. It might get rubbed off, so be careful. Yeah, it's a stick. Rock on stick. Yeah, anyways. Next up, to continue with his Zonai magic hand abilities, if you split... Oh, I didn't want those to fall out quite yet. We'll get there. If you split Link in half, you can take this bit, which is just some clear plastic, plunk it on a flat surface, and make it look like he's coming through the flat surface, just like in the games, which is so cool. This is just a fun little accessory for so many fun photo opportunities. It's also got this nice rippling texture, and it's got a very similar, though not exactly the same, clear plastic color to the rocket. So this looks nice. Anywho, next up, we've got these, which are fine that they fell out. There are these nice little tailwinds, but they are meant for one of this game's primary gimmicks. The glider! This honestly kind of sold me on this deluxe set. I know a lot of it was all the extra accessories, but for a Breath of the Wild Tears of the Kingdom Link, I need the glider. So as you can see, it has two pre-attached hands, which is appreciated because I don't want to have to go finagling these hands onto this. So it's nice that it's just kind of there via its own dedicated, unique gripping hands, and they have these two little pegs that keep the hand holes secure. But it is very nicely done. It has that cartoony feel, that cartoony sheen that the games kind of have, but it is just so nicely done. It feels ripped straight out of the game again. It is all plastic, so it's going to be stuck in this pose. But you gotta add these as well, which we will do. Oh, I don't like how that feels. Give me a second to do this off screen so I can do it with a bit more finesse. This might need some hot water. I got one in. I'll get the other one in. How are you guys doing? I really like Breath of the Wild Tears in the Kingdom, so I'm really glad that they did this version of Link. Come on. Quick, I guess, complaint. These ball pegs do not want to stay... Okay, I got that one clicked in. Got them both clicked in. They're a bit tough. And it scares me a bit of their bending. These are at least somewhat flexible plastic, and it's nice that these compose to help make it look like the wind's going in a certain direction or whatever, depending on how you have it posed. But this is quite the large accessory. This takes up a lot of space, so keep that in mind if you're going to get the deluxe set. Yeah, that's the back tray, which, again, is made up of mostly deluxe set exclusive accessories, though not all deluxe set exclusive accessories, because some are in the front tray as well. Okay, let's get this closed all nice and snugly so that we can get on to the front tray. We are 20 minutes in. Don't look at the time, actually. Maybe I'm lying to you. Maybe it's been an hour. But here is the front tray and all the accessories therein. Opening it seems just as simple, though the leverage needed is a tad awkward because it is so extra tall. Anywho, let's start with accessories as we always do. We will start with what I believe is the final deluxe accessory, the arrows, or the bow and arrow. Well, there's also the arm. We'll get to the arm as well. So, he comes with the Zonai bow and arrow. Again, this is very Zonai specific, but it has this nice particular sculpting. Again, looks like they just took the CAD model from the game, painted it, and brought it to real life. But that is exactly what I'm looking for. As you can see, this is a very nice, unique-looking bow design, with its very unique, kind of like Mesoamerican-inspired shaping. It's got this slight tilt to it, I think, from what I've seen, but I think that's intentional. But yeah, it looks so nice. I'd have to check the instructions specifically to see how this should go on. But it also comes with this arrow. Once again, even though it's a small accessory, they did not pull out any stops. Nicely painted, nicely sculpted. You can see the silver here, the two-tone feathering here, the silver back there, and the brown overall. They pair very nicely. If it'll focus, and you can just pose with them however you so choose. Next up, in terms of deluxe accessories, we have a whole ass extra arm for Link. This is his exposed Zonai arm. He has the Zonai arm on at all times, but this is like right when it's battle damage and just has it exposed, which I might make my default look because this is so cool. There's not a ton of paint bleed on it. It could be a bit nicer QC'd, but overall it looks very nice, very intricate, and it fits that patterning from the game very nicely. And I do like that we can see a little bit of the chainmail underlayer as well, which is also painted very nicely. As you can see, you just remove it and plonk on this new arm. Yeah, very nice that they included this. I'm glad that we have this as an option, given that also clothing is part of the accessorization game for this game. Next up, though, tying into that, he comes with a cloth fucking cape. It has like a little hood, and in order to keep it in place, it has this little clear insert that allows you to peg it into his back, but doesn't take up the peg entirely because it leaves you with an extra peg just in case you want it. It's not coming up super clearly on camera, but yeah, it comes with a nice extra peg that can be rotated, it seems. Oh boy. And also the cape itself has some very nice printing on it. It's such a nice, like, little detailed printage. It looks so good. It looks so good. It looks so good. This is very pretty. I like this cape. I'm not sure if I'm going to have it on him at all times, but it looks very good. Anywho, now on to something that's a lot more base setty. He includes the To be expected, standard set of Link weaponry. So first off, if I can get it out of the accessory bay, here we have, under some protective like plastic layering, the Hylian shield. I wouldn't be surprised if this is the same sculpt as previous Hylian shields. It works the same. It has the removable hilt and the brown strap that you put around the arm to keep it secure. I've seen varying opinions on this style of shielding, but I guess it makes sense enough. You can do it on either arm, depending on if you want him to be a righty or lefty. I think this version of Link is right-handed, but it looks like you can make him left-handed if you need him to be. But yeah, the detailing on this is also very nice. A lot of it is sculpted. You can see the upper area here is raised, but the lower area is just printed, though that's not a bad thing. I'm pretty sure that's how it is in the game. But this looks just like the Hylian shield. The gold and the silver are very nicely done. The bird patterning also looks very nice. And the silver is nice and gleamy and shiny. You can see it gleaming in the light here. This is a very nicely done shield. I'll have to see how it goes on him, but we'll see. Next up, though, is the sword. Your Link's got to have a sword. And for that, he also has a sheath. Once again, ripped straight out of the game and very nicely detailed. You can see all the gold is intricately done, barely any paint bleed. I'd say it's negligible because if you look at it away from it like this or something, you won't notice it, only really when you look up close with like a macro lens or something. It's got this brown strap as well, which is very nice, and all the sculpting is just so nice and intricate. And I guess it's done in this blue plastic, which is a bit weird, but whatever. It's painted very nicely. The blue and the gold is all very nice. The blue even has a little bit of like a fleck to it, which makes it slightly shiny and like sparkly. Yeah, it's very nice. But why would you have a Hylian sheath? Well, my friends, it's because he comes with the Master Sword, one of the most iconic swords in like anything ever. I haven't had a version of it for action figures until now, and man, is it cool. It's got the winged detail done up in a nice, smooth, shiny purple, as well as the little bits of smooth, shiny green as well. The blade has the blue tint that it has a lot of the time in Breath of the Wild, especially when you're fighting Ganon-esque villains, because it does extra damage. And it's just such a nice little detail. And the sword even has that little bit of sculpting for the Triforce. This is such a pretty sword. Such a nice accessory. It's not focusing on it, unfortunately, super well, but it's such a nice looking sword. Next up is what we would usually get to pretty early on in an unboxing, but here we are now. He comes with 2 extra faces. First off, what seems fairly fitting, especially given he does a lot of action, is a shouting face. He's going, "Yeah!" Like he does in the game. It doesn't have ears on the sculpting. The ears appear to be hair exclusive. But yeah, this looks, again, ripped straight out of the game. It's getting a bit overexposed, but there we go. This is Link. This is a Link face ripped straight from the games. It's so good. Next up, though, is the final accessory. The final extra face. Link is fucking smiling. It's a very slight smile. Very subtle expression. But it looks very nice. Again, it got the eyes perfectly, the eyebrows perfectly, the sculpting perfectly. It seems to just kind of peg on, and ooh, that's a little bit creepy, the inside having that contour. But finally, we've gotten through the accessories. Remember, if you're interested in picking this up, I don't have any affiliate links or anything. This is the deluxe set we are looking at. It is quite a bit more expensive for most of the extra accessories. It makes sense why it is more expensive, but if you just want the Link with, like, Master Sword and the shield and the hands, and I think the cape, maybe, there is a basic set that I think is, like, at least $30 cheaper, if not $50 cheaper. So if you don't want to spend all that much money on Link, then yeah. But finally, getting him out of all the plastic, here we have the Tears of the Kingdom, Figma, Link, coated in plastic. So first off, let's get all of that out of the way. So first off, there's this layer behind the quiver. They have this layer between the legs and the like the lower part of the shirt. Okay, come on. There we go. Torn out. Then we have this layer under there as well, but also under the oh, that tears apart annoyingly easily. Ugh. That's getting jammed in there. Oh, geez. Let's move the arm up. Let's get that out of the way. Between like that, and then there is torso. There's a lot of these. They might have gone a little bit overkill on the extra layers of paint protection, but I mean, better to go overkill than underkill, I guess. Then around the neck, and around the neck, and around the neck. There we go. So here we have the Figma link. He seems big, is my first note. He seems large, especially given I've been working with a lot of SH Figure Arts recently. Here's like the SH Figure Arts Fuko Izumo in a pose. Like she's in a pose, but like proportionally, he seems larger than like this proportions. And like looking at like Andy from that same line, again, proportionally, he seems big. Which isn't a bad thing. He still fits in seemingly fine from what I've seen. But this goes especially well with the Figma Samus. She also was proportioned larger than most Figmas. He is proportioned quite largely, which I guess makes him feel more worth it. Yeah, as you can tell, he's got a lot of nice... Like, the painting is fairly simple, but it's not bad, I should say. It's not a bad sort of simple. It is a nice sort of simple. It looks very nice and intricate and very cartoony, and it fits the Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom aesthetic very nicely. Though, as you can see, this Link is slightly more armored than you would expect for the base form of Link from these games. He's got a bunch of extra straps to show that he's wearing a little bit of extra armor over the basic blue Hylian Tunic of the Wilds or whatever it's called. Yeah. He's got all this extra brown leathery armor, which covers up a lot of the extra stuff. And as you can see, it covers up the Zonai arm a little bit. As well as, like, he's also wearing a sweater. He is wearing a sweater under there to help keep him warm in cooler environments. Yeah. Sorry, I am very much enjoying the figure. So first off, let's look at the head. Again, the head seems a bit big. But if it'll not be so overexposed, come on. There we go. As you can see, it's a very nice head sculpt. The hair is nice and raggedy, but like in a good way. He's got his pointy ears. His normal face is a more neutral expression, which fits very well for Link. And if we look at the back of the head, the ponytail is on a hinge so it can get out of the way, so he can look all the way up. Okay, we'll get to the articulation layer, and this layer of hair is lower and like part of the lower neck, but that makes sense for engineering. Torso, again, fairly simple. You can see the chainmail poking out through a lot of it, which adds a little bit of extra texturing, but the shirt itself, while having its wrinkles, is fairly flat, which is fine enough. Again, cartoony, but he's also covered in strapped armor. He's got some leather here. He's got like this bit of the... Oh shit, I forgot some of the accessories. But hold on, bibbidi-bobbidi-boo. These are things to hold the swords and archers and shield if he doesn't have them on his back, or if he wants to have multiple things on his back. I'll have to check those later, but for now, leave that there. Anywho, sorry, I forgot about that. But he's got this sweater, which I don't usually think about in the game, so he is wearing like a sweater under it that's like in this nice dark green color to help bring that green out in the Link. And the armor does have this nice texturing, which is even slightly, in certain parts, slightly differently colored paint is applied to it to help emphasize the sculpt, which is very nice looking. Though some of the paint does kind of hide the sculpting, makes it look a bit softer. It's fine. Yeah, you can see all these straps, and the Zonai charges are given so much nice detailing. Whew. Nice and like shiny and like painted and sculpted. That's very nice. Looking at the back, you can see all the straps. I didn't talk about the pants. Pants are very simple. You know, you got a seam line, which I mean makes sense for pants. Simple, tan, simple brown boots, but like they are painted very cleanly and nicely. On the back, we have the quiver, which has a ton of its own detail. It just kind of hangs there, which makes me worried it might tear, but I think it'll be fine because it's at least loose. Yeah, there's a bit of an ugly seam line again, but it's got the same quiver detail for the arrows, and it's got so much lovely detail for the quiver itself. And this pouch has its own extra paint, and beautifully painted figure. And it's got the little Triforce back here. Yay! And these pinstripe decals are also very nicely done. Without further ado, I think we should get to the articulation before this thing balloons too much. So first off, we already went over the head being able to look all the way up, which is good because he has to kind of be able to fall through the air. You can't really look down with the upper neck, but with the lower neck, you're able to look down further. This kind of warps these frontal hair bits. I don't think it's going to be too much of an issue, though. Maybe don't leave him looking down too long. And he's able to tilt using both joints side to side very nicely. It makes this kind of gap here, but it could be worse. I've seen worse. And like gaps aren't usually too big of a problem for me because I like articulating my figures. I think he has a butterfly. Yeah, he has a butterfly, which allows him to move his arms across decently fine. They're a little bit tight because of the paint, but like he can dual hand a sword, I think, from what I can see. Again, he also has some fairly basic shoulder joints, these kind of round peg hinges, which allow him to go out to about 90 degrees, and he's able to rotate all the way around. Well, he can't rotate all the way around. Going back is a little bit of a struggle. But yeah, he doesn't have a traditional bicep swivel from what I can see, but he does have a swivel up here. It doesn't have as much range, but there is a bicep swivel. Though it's how actionable it is depends on how you have that upper joint positioned. He can still reach behind him, though, so that's nice. Speaking of reaching behind him, he has a double-jointed elbow. We've kind of gone over it with the spare arm a little bit, but he does have this double-jointed elbow, which allows him to hinge up like so. It looks very nice, and again, allows him to reach behind his back. The hand is on a standard swivel hinge swivel. You've seen this all the time on Figma, though it is nice that it is variable, so you can go in and out for more natural poses, or go up and down for sword-wielding poses, which is very appreciated. This side also seems to have the same level of articulation. It is slightly hindered, though, by the shoulder pad. The shoulder pad has a slight amount of wiggle and articulation, though it's not super intentional from what I can tell. Yeah, it's just on like a rubber bit. But yeah, this side also has the same amount of articulation, even with it being slightly different. Torso ball is able to go back, not super far, forward, not super far, though also it's able to go side to side, not too crazy, though also you're meant to use it with the lower joint, so it's able to get down a decent amount. Back, not super crazy, but enough. And side, oh, there goes the neck. Be careful of that, I guess. Let's tighten that in there a little bit better. There we go. So be careful of the neck popping out. Side to side, limited somewhat because there's a lot of layers of plastic. Be careful, I guess. The skirt is going to limit range from what I've seen. He's able to kick forward, though, fairly nicely. It doesn't hinder it too much. Just be careful of warpage. I think he has a drop down. Yeah, he has a drop down, which helps. He does have a drop down joint, which helps in the hips. Otherwise, they're on ball joints. Back isn't able to go as far, but enough. Outward, it's able to go out most of the way. Again, hindered a bit by the sculpting. There's not like a bicep or a thigh cut, but the thigh is able to swivel somewhat thanks to the ball joint, and it is also on a swivel in there. Though I kind of wish they did just make it a cut. It would have made it easier, and it would have worked fine given the way the sculpt works. Double jointed hinge at the knee, which is able to go all the way. It's able to go all the way. It's just a bit awkward to use because of the quiver. I wish there was a boot cut, but there is a bit of swivel at the boot, mostly going outward, not going inward. He's able to kick forward a decent amount, kick backward a little bit. Good ankle tilt, really good ankle tilt, which you're able to take advantage of the swivel for. and toe bend. Great toe bend. So overall, yeah. Very strong link. Again, if you don't want this like full on set, and the accessories is too much money and too overwhelming space wise for you, you can get the basic set, which I think is a nice option. This video is 40 minutes long. Okay. But yeah, this is a very fun figure. I've got to get my hands on it a little bit more to kind of see where it'll rank. I do think it's going to be top 15 material, though, which is getting a bit concerning because there's a lot of top 15 material here at the start of the year. Anyways, this is a very fun figure. I do recommend it. I look around for prices. It is very expensive. Oh, yeah, quick note. There goes a face. Sword goes in sheath. It's a loose fit, which is good because that means it won't chip the paint, but the sword goes in the sheath rather than being a separate part like with a lot of SH Figuarts. Anyways, yeah. Good figure. I enjoy it. I'm not going to waste too much more of your time. Just remember to do all the usual YouTube stuff. Comment what you think of the games, the figure, the whatever in the comment section below. Let me know what you think. Yeah. I think that's Zelda. I think that's the video. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you think I should cover more Nintendo franchises. I do like Nintendo. Let me know if you think I should cover more of these figures. I'm not quite sure if I'll get the Zelda yet because I feel like I'll have opinions on it. But anyways, until next time, I'll see you in some other video, hopefully. I hope you stick around. Bye-bye.